Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the British Tier 10 Tech Tree medium tank, the FV4202. So if you did like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the FV4202, the alternative British medium tank that you can unlock. This was an old school British medium tank. This was the first Tier 10 British medium tank. And then they removed it from the game, added the Centurion Action 10, and put it down at Tier 8 as a premium tank as the FV4202P with the 20-pounder gun. And I believe if you had the FV4202 unlocked at that time, you actually got the FV4202 for free, or FV4202P for free, that is. But then, after popular demand, they re-added it. So what's the differences between this tank and the Centurion Action 10? Well, number one, it's a little bit lower profile, which is handy for, getting shot at. It means it's a little bit harder to hit. The upper plate armour is angled more obliquely by quite a lot, which means that it can actually ricochet a good amount off its upper plate, which is lovely. Generally, the hull armour on this tank is a little bit better. The turret armour is fairly similar to the Centurion Action 10 in the fact that it's troll. It's not absolutely amazing while you are hull down, but it can work. And then the other major thing that it has is it's still got the 268 penetration APCR rounds that the Centurion Action 10 has, but instead of the 330 heat round that the Centurion Action 10 has, this thing has the same as the Centurion 7.1. It has 210 pen HESH rounds, which can be an absolute meme and just up your DPM massively in the FV4202 and can be an absolute delight to use. But granted, you do lose the flexibility of having that heat round for dealing with tanks like Mouse and Type 5, etc, etc. It takes a lot more to get the most out of the FV4202, I think, because of having the HESH round, and you just got to know what you want to be doing with that HESH round as well, right? Because you've got to know what kind of plates you can pen, what you want to be doing with it, where you want to be shooting, etc, etc. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on this tank? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Trap Mechanics, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Camouflage Expertise, the Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, and Optics. Optics to be able to get my view range up to 525 meters of view range should help me get a good amount of assistance on maps like Westfield, like you're seeing here, although it does need people to shoot for you, because we did spot 3-4 people at the start and no one shot them. We get the Gun Stabilizer to make this gun as good as it can be, so hopefully knocking its gun bloom down with its accuracy during movement and rotation. The Advanced Loader to make the DPM as good as humanly possible. We just bounced something blind firers there. That was a time. And then, yeah, the Advanced Loader to make the DPM great. The Camouflage Expertise to make the camo a little bit better, because you can get it down to 326 meters of still concealment, which can be pretty decent, so I do want to try and help that if I can, and when I get on maps like Westfield, it makes it hopefully a little bit harder for me to get spotted, unless you end up having tanks like Vanguards just sitting in bushes and finding you. And then the 3 gun perks again to make this gun as good as possible, to make it so it doesn't bloom out as much and it is superbly accurate, because it is a fairly accurate gun. Because with the build that we have, we've got the reload down to 6.27 second reload, which is fantastic. Less than 6.3 seconds is great, and nearly 6 seconds if you use the food boost as well is fantastic. Accuracy is down at 0.26, which is amazing. Accuracy during movement is 1.64, which is really good for a medium tank, but the accuracy during rotation is 1.02, which isn't that great, which is... These are all with the build we've got, which is why we run stuff like the Gun Stabilizer and all the gun perks to make sure that this gun is as snappy as humanly possible. And then, to add that, you've got a 1.93 second aim time, which is absolutely beautiful. It means the gun is aimed in very, very quickly, and you will be able to just keep snapping the shots in at will. 10 degrees of gun depression is also fantastic for the FV4202. It means that you can use a ridgeline to great effect, and accentuate the turret armour to make it so it's a bit more bouncy, which is also glorious. With the 50 km/h top speed that this vehicle has as well, it's not the quickest medium tank in the universe, but it does get into position that you want to be in pretty quickly, as it does also have 20.26 horsepower per ton ratio, which means it does hit that 50 km/h top speed quite handily. So if you decide, you know what, I don't care about the gun handling is fantastic even without the gun stabilizer, I want to make this tank faster because it is a little bit slow, you can run the traction system and you will get up to 55 km/h. But you could also run the advanced reload as well instead of the gun stabilizer to make use of the HESH round or the APCR rounds. You know, make use of the round that you really want to use. It's down to you. I just felt like the gun handling suffered without the gun stabilizer. Like, the gun bloom was quite big without it, and it was really irritating for me, especially for such an accurate gun and how non-snappy it was. So that's why I changed out to put the gun stabilizer in. You could also run the camera net as well. It's completely down to you and how you want to play the tank. There is no right or wrong way to do it. It's always down to you and how you feel comfortable playing a vehicle. But yeah, if you take the gun stabilizer off, you do have 1.28 accuracy during rotation, and your accuracy during movement goes up to 2.05, which as a combination is not very good, and it means your gun handling does bloom out massively. So as you can see in this first game on Westfield, we managed 6,058 damage with 215 assistance, and that looked like that should have hit. Come on, game. We've got 1,465 or 1,478 meters a second shell velocity on this APCR, which is glorious, which means we don't really have to leave the target all that much. But RNG is just laughing at us right now. Like, some of the shots may not have been led the most perfect, but the one that hit him in the side and did track damage only is like, oh, come on. He turns there instead of driving straight like I thought he was going to, so we missed. That one finally, hallelujah, hits the LHMTV. Can we get the kill on this guy? Yes, we can. Thank the Lord. You can see the frustration in my aiming there. And thankfully, we got the 5th kill of that game. We finished with the victory, the 7.1k damage, the 5 kills, 2.7k blocked because we did get a little bit lucky. The high caliber, the first class, with that 1,602 base XP. We did get fairly lucky in that game in the FV4202 because that mid-ridge there, that Vanguard was really irritating because he just played that mid-ridge as a YOLO and managed to keep us spotted. It was probably fairly good on his part, to be fair, because it kept us as a tier 10 medium tank spotted. It meant we couldn't use the strongest position in the universe on Westfield, and we just kept getting lit up. We did get very lucky, though, and it actually showed off the hull armor, if we're honest, of the FV4202, in the fact that we did ricochet quite a lot of shots off our hull armor, and if we were in a Centurion Action 10, we would have been dead. We just flat out would have been dead, because Centurion Action 10's hull armor is garbage. And therefore, yeah, all those shots would have gone straight in the hull, and that's it. You have to really, if you're shooting at an FV4202, you have to be really, really careful at where you're shooting at it, because if you do hit that upper plate, it's just an auto ricochet angle for a lot of different tanks. And unless you're shooting down on it, it can be really, really awkward. You really have to hit the lower plate. But the lower plate is also an exceptionally small target on an FV4202, because it is very low to the ground. If you're shooting at the turret front of the FV4202, you also want to shoot it underneath the gun. Because underneath the gun is the flattest part of the turret armor, and that is about 200 millimeters thick, and it is the flattest part. So if you're shooting underneath the gun and you've got like 260 pen, you could actually go through his turret front there. But if you're using the full extent of the gun depression of the FV4202 like you want to be, then it makes that very, very difficult for people to actually get shots at. So we're on the second game. The second game, we're on Severogorsk. And we try and put a shot towards the STRV-103B's cupola with our APCR, but it didn't get anywhere near. So what we've done is loaded HESH, because APCR is quite likely to ricochet off an STRV-103B. But if we load HESH, if we don't pen the STRV-103B with the HESH round, we can actually just splash it with HE as well. And we're just as likely to go through the cupola with a HESH round as we are to go through it with an APCR round, so it's no loss to us if we just spam HESH at its cupola. If we hit the cupola, like I said, we're going to pen it for like 480, 490, 500. But if we don't hit it, we're going to splash it for 200. So it means we're always doing damage to that STRV-103B. And we're basically negating the one thing that it has, which is its auto ricochet type armor for calibers of less than 122 millimeters, which is glorious. My advice to you is, if you see an STRV-103B like this, always just fire HE at it. Aim for the cupola and shoot HE, because you'll always do damage to the STRV. You have every chance of setting it on fire, and at the same time, if you do pen the cupola, you have just every chance to go through the cupola with the HE round as you do with your standard AP or APCR anyway, so you may as well just spam HE at it. And as you saw, the HESH rounds did deliver great blows to it. And even when we didn't pen it, we still did 200 odd damage, and we managed to get rid of that STRV-103B. Sadly, he did end up doing quite a bit of damage to us as well, because he has fantastic gun depression with that siege mode, and obviously he has 288 standard pen and over 300 pen on its premium APCR, so naturally he could just delete our poor turret armor. So we have a Rogel Dawn in front of us, which is a bit awkward, but to be honest, the Rogal Dawn isn't the most difficult tank in the universe to take out, especially for a tank like the FV4202 that can have such fantastic gun handling. 268 penetration, all we've got to do is shoot stuff like the side sponson, as you can see there, because it's only 250mm of thickness as a flat box, that side sponson. That means with 268 penetration, we're ever so likely to go through it. It's just more than a 50-50 to go through it, which is what we did, and we actually hit it. Plus, you can just hit the cupolas, as you can see, and we're putting big shots into it. And because the Rogal Dawn is so slow, it's actually quite difficult for a Rogal Dawn to make its cupolas difficult to hit and make its weak spots difficult to hit. And we managed to take out that second Rogal Dawn that was in front of us there. Just looking for the side shot into the E4, can't quite find it. And I'm wanting to push in after the IS-7. So we know the Rogal Dawn that was in front of us is now pushed behind the IS-7, which means we can be a bit more aggressive going after this guy. I can take a hit from this IS-7 as well, so I'm just going to see if I can try and get any shots into this guy, but it's a little bit awkward, and I think, can I shoot this IS-7 under the STRV? Yes, I can. We try and get the shot in straight under the STRV, but sadly, it just hits the floor, and it's like, come on, RNG, please. We try and get the shot into his drive wheel. Thankfully, we bounce the IS-7, but it just hits the floor again. But here we go. We can get the cheeky shots underneath the STRV into the IS-7. The 4005 puts a big shot in, making him a one-shot, and we finish him off underneath the STRV-103B's dead wreck. Now going after the Rogal Dawn, which we are very fortunate that Rogal Dawn bounced there. I didn't think he'd be looking at us with the medium tank pressuring him, but we just want to try and get rid of this guy if we can. The 4005 ends up blocking our shot, but takes the hit for us, so it is what it is. Now the Rogal Dawn's backed off, we can go and get ourselves a little bit more hull down on this rock and put some shots into his cupola. That shot doesn't do any damage, though. It's like, okay, sure, fine, whatever. But we go for the shot again, and it ricochets again. It's because he turned his turret. Maybe we can get the shot into his lower plate now to shut him out down, though. And then when you're shooting at a Rogal Dawn, you do want to shoot the lower plate, but as that high as possible. At the spot you saw me aiming at, on that sticky outy lower plate, you have to shoot as high as possible because it limits the amount of chance that it's going to have of ricocheting. Because it gets, obviously, effectively thicker the lower down you'll shoot it because of angling. So we tried to get an RBRT there into the chisel, but it didn't quite work. And I'm thinking, you know what, I'm just going to chase after this E6 and chisel. If I can spot them, I'll get assistance. And also I can probably go hull down and hide behind these buildings to get safe from them as well. So, I'm just chasing after this E6. I've got the rock in front of me as cover if I need it. Hoping the chisel will get spotted. There he is. There's E6 as well, just looking for the back-end shot. And wiggly aim there. I was like, come on, where's he going to go? And sadly, we ricocheted. But we got the chisel out in the open. Aim for the shot into his upper plate. And of course, it hits the one spot I can't pen it, because why not? He thankfully bounces off of us. The E6 bounces off of us as well. Like I say, again, if we were in the Centurion Action 10... they'd have both penned us there, we'd have been dead, but we shut down the chisel for our 4th kill of this game. Now going after the E6, and I'm thinking, okay, shot into the side of his turret, maybe I can ram it to death. We don't, we only do 35 damage, but I know I've got the reload over this guy because he fired after I did, and we finish him off. And we finished the game with a really nice total for the FV4202 there. We finished with the victory, 5 kills, 7,600 damage, 566 assistance, ace tanker, the steel wall, the high caliber, with the 1837 base XP. A really nice game there for the British Tier 10 Tech Tree medium tank. A tank that I've always loved the FV4202. I've loved the ability to use the Hesh or the fantastic APCR round. The gun handling is amazing. The camo's okay and the mobility's alright as well. It's just a pretty decent medium tank at Tier 10. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.